So I got to thinking, if I had to start my collection all over from the beginning, say some crazy makeup thief came into my house and stole all of my makeup, and my only option was to go to the drugstore, what would I pick up first to create a full face? Welcome to my channel. My name is Rachel. If you are new here, welcome. And if you're not new here, thanks so much for coming back. Today, I am going to imagine a scenario where I have to start my collection over and I can only shop at the drugstore. What would I buy first? A lot of these products I am wearing on my face today, so I may pop in some footage here and there. Let's just get right to it because there's a lot of products to talk about. I need a lot for a full face of makeup. All the products I will link down in the description box below if you are interested in checking them out, and give this a thumbs up while you're watching it if you enjoy it, and consider subscribing to my channel if you aren't already. I really tried to stick with things that are still available. That was like my first criteria, not things that are discontinued, because I really want to imagine like today I have no makeup and I have to go to the drugstore to shop. So only things that are still available. And then also the other kind of criteria I gave myself is true drugstore. So not ColourPop, not, I guess just ColourPop. Things that are actually sold at like Target, Walmart, CVS, Walgreens, stuff like that. So true drugstore. All right, let's get right to it. I'm not going in a really particular order, but we're gonna start off with primer. So I need to stop saying I'm not a primer person because I've been saying that, but I always, after saying that, talk about a primer that I like. So that kind of defeats the purpose. So I think the primer that I would choose would be the Marshmallow Primer from NYX. I only use a couple of primers, this one and the Milk Hydro Grip Primer. So obviously that's not a drugstore primer. I like this one. I think it's really nice for me. By the way, preface all of this by saying I do have oily skin and I'm almost 36. So I do have fine lines and all of that. So I like this one because I'm oily and it's not too hydrating. It's not too much for my skin. It gives just a good refreshing hydration and also a slightly tacky base, which I've discovered more and more that I'm using it. The smell is divine and I really like it. It's a great primer. Is it life-changing? Not for me, but I really, really like it. And this is what I would pick up as a primer if I had to at the drugstore. Okay. If you've been here before, you know what my foundation pick is because I can't shut up about this foundation. It has been my favorite foundation all summer. I can't stop wearing it. It's the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Foundation Matte. I wear the shade 370C Bronze Beige. It's like a perfect skin match for me right now in the summertime. This foundation is life-changing. Not to be dramatic or anything, but for me, it's the perfect foundation for the summertime and me with oily skin. It is a matte foundation, but it's not drying. It's not cakey. It doesn't look or feel heavy on the skin. It is what I'm wearing on my face today, by the way. It literally blends like butter and it kind of has a butter consistency, which sounds so gross, but I mean it in the best way possible. It like melts into the skin upon application. It looks great with a brush. It looks great with a sponge. It blends easily. It stays really well. It gives a satin matte finish. So I wouldn't call it overly matte. I think if you have really dry skin, you might not like this one. But if you have normal to oily skin, it's really nice. I also like that it gives a medium coverage. So it's not like full glam, but it's definitely covers redness and zits and all that. I have a giant zit right here, as you can see in the B-roll. Love that. So yes, this would be hands down, the foundation that I would pick. Concealer is hard for me because I'm very, very picky with concealer. Very picky. I have extremely dark under eyes, always have, probably always will. And I need something that's full coverage, but I need something that stays put and does minimal creasing. I know pretty much every concealer is gonna crease if you have fine lines, but I have very crinkly under eyes. I work in the service industry. I'm fake smiling a lot. So I need something that's not gonna just crease on me instantly with the first fake smile of the day. So for me, Tarte Shape Tape is my go-to. That is what I wear. Typically, I mix Tarte Shape Tape with Tarte Shape Tape Ultra Creamy, and that's like a perfect mix for me. But those obviously aren't drugstore. So if I had to choose, I would choose the Milani Conceal and Perfect. This is the closest thing at the drugstore that I've found to a Tarte Shape Tape like concealer. It's full coverage. It stays put pretty well. I would say that it is less long wearing than the Tarte Shape Tape, but pretty good. And just like the Tarte Shape Tape, it is a bit drying. Like if you don't like Tarte Shape Tape, you will not like this because it is a drying matte concealer. I don't really mind. Like I would rather it look dry and stay put than be luminous and crease like crazy. So this is what I would choose. It's a good alternative if I was in a pinch and I needed a drugstore concealer. Okay, for setting powder. Once again, a lot of the setting powders that I like are not drugstore. I really am picky with setting powders, but this one that I have that I've used today is a really good one. This is the Maybelline Fit Me Loose Setting Powder. I have Fair, Light, and Fair. I used Fair Light today. When I'm more fair in the winter, I'll use Fair. How many times did I say Fair? Take a sip of water for how many times I said Fair. So this is really good for those who have dry to normal skin because I feel like there's a moisturizing quality. Like there's almost like a moisturizing quality. That's all I can really say. I don't know how else to describe it, but it's not drying. It's not like a baking powder or anything like that. It sets the skin and it actually provides some coverage because it is tinted. I don't think they have a translucent one. I could be wrong. And it's very affordable, like very, very affordable. It's a great setting powder at the drugstore. It's just not the most like mattifying for me personally. Like I have very oily skin. I like stuff that like mattifies me like crazy. This doesn't mattify like crazy, but it is a nice, affordable setting powder. So this is the one I would pick. Do you have any recommendations for setting powders at the drugstore that are more of a mattifying type of loose powder? Please let me know. I would love to know down in the comments. Please let me know. All right, I'm gonna be a little extra, okay? I'm gonna be a little extra. For bronzer and blush, I chose a cream and a powder. Now, would I necessarily need both? No, but would I want both? Yes. So for cream bronzer, I would choose the NYX Wonderstick. And it does have a highlight and a bronzer. I specifically use the bronzer side. I rarely use the highlighter side, not because it's bad. I just don't like a stick cream highlighter. It's just not my thing. But this bronzer is so good. It's one of my favorite cream bronzers in my collection, period. Now, again, I have oily skin, and I feel that this one is a bit more on the matte, long wearing side. It's not super duper creamy or emollient, but it does stay put really nice throughout the day. The way that I prefer to wear this is putting it onto my brush and then stippling the brush on my face. I do not recommend drawing it on your face and then trying to blend it out because I find it's pretty hard to blend out that way and it can look patchy. But if you know how to use it and you finesse it a little bit, it looks great on the skin. It is what I'm wearing on my face today, and I use the shade Universal Light. I feel like it actually works for me when I'm tan as well as when I'm more fair. I can build it up, I can share it out. I think it's wonderful. Honestly, it's a great, great product. For powder bronzer, honestly, I'm sorry, you guys. I could not choose one. I chose two. I can't decide. It would depend on if I want a glowy bronzer or I want a matte bronzer, and it would depend on the moment, you know what I mean? Let me start with the matte bronzer. So I have the Silky Matte Bronzing Powder from Milani. I have mine in the shade 03 Suntan. This is a wonderful matte bronzer from the drugstore. Smooth, just the right amount of pigment. This particular shade is more of a neutral tone, which is what I like. I don't like something too orangey, too warm. I don't like something too cool toned. This is a perfect shade for me. Especially right now. I'm not wearing this right now, but imagine that I am. It's a great one. It beats a lot of the high-end bronzers that I have in my collection. So love this one. If I wanted more of a glowy look, I would go for the Flower Beauty Heatwave Luminous Bronzer. This is a glowy goddess dream. You look at it and you think, that looks straight up gray. It's not. It's not. When you apply it on the skin, it looks like, for me personally, it looks like what my skin looks like when I get a tan. It just sinks right into the skin. It becomes one with the skin. It doesn't sit on top or look powdery. It just looks very naturally bronzy on the skin. I personally prefer this when I'm a little more fair than I am now, and unfortunately they only have 2 shades, which is really a shame. This is the lighter one, Sunrise L1. But if you are looking for a natural glowy bronzer at the drugstore, this one is absolutely spectacular. That's all I have to say. Okay, cream and powder blush. So for cream blush, I have the Milani Cheek Kiss in the shade 110 Nude Kiss. This is what I'm wearing on my cheeks today. This is like one of the best cream bronzers I have ever tried, period. High end, low end, middle end, that made no sense. It blends so easily. You can sheer it out, you can build it up. It doesn't disturb the makeup underneath, and it gives more of that satin effect. So it's not super dewy, shiny, emollient, greasy, but it's also not matte and powdery. It's right in the middle. It's just very, very user-friendly, looks gorgeous. The color is really beautiful. This more like rosy, neutral, can go with just about any look type of color. And that's the other thing, like why I would choose this is because of the color as well. So love this one, highly suggest it. Again, for powder blush, I chose 2. I can't decide. Don't make me. So I have 2. I have Essence the blush. Now, this blush is one of my favorite blushes in my collection, period. I love it. And it is in the shade 40 Beloved. This is a gorgeous pink, more cool toned to neutral toned pink. It adds a slight sheen to the cheeks. I am more of a matte cheek person, but if I want a little bit of like glowing and life and youth to my face, this provides it without looking shimmery or sparkly or chunky. Like, it is a gorgeous formula and it is very affordable. The only thing with this is the only shade in the line that I like. I'm not interested in the other shades. Like they just don't appeal to me personally. So if I wanted a warm tone cheek to match whatever look I was doing, which I prefer warm tone cheeks or warm tone looks in general, obviously this would not be the greatest pick, but for a cool toned like pinky blush, favorite at the drugstore. For different shades other than that one, I would choose the Flower Beauty Flower Pots blushes. So this one is in the shade Peach Primrose. Say no more, a peach cheek, yes. And then this one I have layered on top of the Milani cream blush today. This one is in the shade Spiced Petal. So these 2 are so gorgeous, a little more warm tone-ish. This one's a little more neutral, but warm tone to neutral. Matte blushes, like true mattes. But again, they don't look powdery or dry on the cheeks. They just look perfect and they're easy to use. They're just the right amount of pigment. They don't look over the top like clown cheeks, but you can build them up. They're just really, really good, creamy, soft, blendable, great blushes. If you want more blush recommendations from the drugstore, I have an entire video just on drugstore blushes. I will link it down in the description box below if you're interested in checking it out, but these blushes were on that list, spoiler alert. Okay, I'm getting back into highlighter. For a long time, I did not wear highlighter. I don't know, it just didn't really, I'm pretty greasy, so I have a natural highlight as it is. But I have discovered one lately that I love, and I can't stop using it. It's the highlighter from Essence. It is in the shade 02 Sun Showers. This highlighter is just as close to a perfect highlighter for me as possible. This highlighter is just stunning on the skin. It gives a wet look without looking overly metallic. There's no chunks of glitter. There's no like unflattering texture enhancingness. Although it's a highlighter, okay, so it's not going to hide texture, but I feel like it's just a little kicked up more than a natural highlight when you want that extra glow. The color for me is perfect. It blends right into my skin. It doesn't look stripy. It is easy to use. Really nice, really great highlighter. I love this one, and it does come in a few other colors as well. All right, for brows, I really like the NYX Micro Brow Pencil. That is another like really good recommendation for me, but I think I would choose the Oma by Sharon C. One and Done 2-in-1 Brow Styler. So this one is actually in my empties bin because it's completely used up. This is the Never Ending Brow Pencil. I had this, I would say, for well over a year, and I used it almost every day. And it's only half brow pencil, the other half is a brow gel. So it lasts forever. I have mine in the shade 06. Now this is definitely more of a darker brown for me. I like it when I have very bold eye makeup, but for a more like everyday basis, the brow pencil is a little dark for me. But what I would do on an everyday, like more light makeup look type of day is I love this brow gel. The price of this alone, I think is worth it just for the brow gel. This brow gel, it's a tinted brow gel. I love the tiny little brush. I love the amount of color that it deposits. It's not too much, but it's definitely enough that you can see it. And the hold on this is actually very good for a brow gel. Very surprised at how well it held my bushy brows. The pencil side is definitely more on the creamy side, so just keep that in mind. If you like a more drier, more controlled application, this is a little bit more of a creamy formula where it deposits a lot of pigment at once. But because I have such thick, large brows, it's fine. Like, I can work with it. But this is one that I would choose because I've been enjoying this, and I really especially enjoy the brow gel. So for eyeshadow, I have become a bit of an eyeshadow snob. I can't lie. I really have. Since I've really discovered indie shadows, I'm really picky. That's just the truth. But I looked through my drugstore eyeshadow collection, and many of the things that were true drugstore are no longer available. And I really wanted to try to stick to ones that were available. And I did find this one that I do actually really like. I'll kind of explain what it is that is, let me just explain. So this is the Hard Candy Look Pro Blushful Nudes eyeshadow palette. So this is from Walmart. Packaging super cheap. I mean, listen, I think it's $10. It's pretty cheap. I love the tones. Like, I love a blush rose purpley pink eye. Love it. Obviously, I'm not wearing this on my eyes today. I'm wearing something else. I was not able to do my eyeshadow with this today. But I really enjoy this palette for more light, softer looks. The mattes in this are extremely hard pressed, so you're not gonna get a ton of pigment off the bat. They are buildable though, like you can build them up to look more like they are in the pan, but right off the bat, not a ton of pigment. They're very hard pressed, like I just said, but they work. They work better than like Essence eyeshadows in my opinion. They work fine. They give me more of a soft wash of color, but because they are so buildable, they're extremely easy to work with. They're very easy to blend out. They're not like gonna give you a bruised eye look and you panicking trying to go, like I have to blend this out. No, they're easy to use. So I appreciate that. The thing that is really the star of the show in this palette are the metallics. Like the metallics in this are really, really sparkly, wet looking, almost creamy feeling. There are two pressed glitters, which I will never touch. You can't make me. But these shimmers are really, really beautiful. Textured. Yeah, they're gorgeous. I should use this again. I haven't used this palette in a really long time. These are really beautiful, better than some high-end palettes that I have. Now, again, my preference, generally speaking, for eyeshadows, especially shimmers, is I want them to be sparkly. I want them to have some oomph. I don't love like a satin soft shadow. I mean, I am coming to appreciate a time and a place for it. I have created some looks recently with more satiny shades, but for the drugstore, I'm very impressed with this palette. I think it's a great one. And this is the one I would probably reach for or buy first. For mascara, my favorite mascara, high-end or drugstore, is the NYX On The Rise Volume Mascara. It just is my favorite. My lashes are very straight, they grow downward, they don't hold a curl, and they're very sparse. But this mascara actually gives me volume, actually gives me lift, actually makes it look like I have somewhat decent lashes. So I love that for me. If you don't want volume and you want a wispy lash, this is not the best mascara. This definitely provides volume, and it's borderline can get clumpy if you go overboard. I really like the shape of this wand, more like an hourglass shape. It is a plasticky, spiky type of wand. I love this mascara. I will continue to repurchase this one. For lashes, the lashes that I'm wearing on my eyes today, and I wear these weekly because I love that they are more natural looking, but they add more oomph to my lashes that need help. So these are the Kiss Look So Natural Trio Lash, and this is the medium combo. So you get a set of medium trio lashes and short trio lashes. And they're trios because they're individuals, but they're banded by threes, right? Trio, three.
Duh.
They're really easy to customize how many you want. I really mostly have it on the outer half of my eyes today, but if I want more of a volumized look, I'll put it all the way in to my inner corner. They just look like lash extensions. That's exactly what I was looking for. They look like lash extensions. So I love wearing them on more lighter makeup days, but also on days where I am adding like an eyeliner. They just give me some oomph. These would be the ones that I would choose, definitely. For lip products, some of my favorite products to talk about. I chose for lip liners, for pure drugstore. I love the ColourPop ones, but we're not doing ColourPop. Okay, I already said that. For drugstore lip liners, I would choose the LA Girl Ultimate Lip Intense Stay Auto Liners. So these two that I have are the more nude colors that I have. I also have the red, which is really nice. My preference for lip liners is I prefer a creamier lip liner versus a stiff lip liner. I will sacrifice longevity for the creaminess factor if I had to choose. My favorite lip liners are ones that are really creamy, that stay put. I have yet to find one at the drugstore that really stays put really well, that are creamy. If you have any suggestions, please leave them down in the comments, like a creamy lip liner that is very long wearing at the drugstore that's not ColourPop. Anyway, these are good. They're creamy. I love the colors that they offer. They offer a million colors. They're very affordable. I have combined on my lips today both these shades. So I have Nonstop Nude, which is actually a slightly warmer kind of dupe for Pillow Talk by Charlotte Tilbury. It's a little warmer than Pillow Talk. And then I have Keep It Spicy, which is a slightly more brownish nude. So that is Nonstop Nude, and that is Keep It Spicy. So you see those two there. They're really nice, creamy, precise, easy to use, accessible, affordable lip liners at the drugstore. And so those are the ones I would choose. For lipsticks, hands down, my favorite lipsticks at the drugstore are the Milani Color Fetish matte lipsticks. I have the shades Tease and Pleasure. I also have a red, but these nudes are the ones that I would definitely reach for first. Pleasure is a little bit more of a pinky nude, and Tease is more of a neutral nude. I'm wearing Tease on my lips today. They're just gorgeous lipsticks. They rival high-end lipsticks. They do have a matte finish to them, but they're creamy. That is Pleasure, that is Tease. They're creamy, they're easy to apply. They're opaque with one swipe. They feel velvety on the lips. They last a long time. They don't feel drying. Gloss layers over them perfectly. They're great. They come in a lot of colors, deep colors, berry colors, reds, nudes. They even have a black that they just released. Great lipsticks. And then for a gloss, I would choose the NYX This Is Milky Gloss in the shade Milk and Honey. This is one of my most worn lip glosses this year. I love the tone. Again, it's a warm, like I prefer a warm nude. This is a warm nude. The smell is really nice. It smells like baked goods. It adds like a milky, glossy, but not goopy, not thick, but not so thin that it disappears quickly. It's a really comfortable, glossy, milky, delicious dream. This also comes in a million colors, like nudes. They have a green. They have all different kinds of colors. I love this color in particular. Personally for me, I even have a backup of it now. So that just tells you this is the one I'd be picking up. For setting spray, I would not pick one up. Okay, I really don't wear setting spray often. There are times when I do want to put setting spray on to make my makeup last a really long time, and the only one I use for that is the Urban Decay All Nighter setting spray. Other than that, I really don't wear setting spray. I just don't feel the need to. I don't feel like it's an extra step in my routine that I just don't need. There are a few exceptions, like if I add way too much powder to my face, I'll just take any setting spray that's sitting around and just give myself a good just to like add some, you know? But I wouldn't feel the need to pick one up. Unless you have any good recommendations for setting sprays at the drugstore that make your makeup last long, please put them down in the comments. And then a little bonus thing that I wanted to add was brushes. So if I were at the drugstore and I needed brushes, I would definitely buy e.l.f. brushes. I find that their brushes are really good quality for the price especially, And yeah, I love them. So these are a few of my favorites. So I have the Putty Primer applicator, and I use this for cream bronzer. It's definitely more of a small applicator that you can really get like in the hollows of your cheekbones if you want to target that area as more of like a contour type of thing, or if you just have a smaller face. This is a great one for cream products. I also have the Flawless Concealer Brush, which I love to blend out concealer or even eye primer. It is more of a densely packed brush, and it is just that perfect size for around the eyes. And then I have like 3 of these e.l.f. Complexion Duo brushes. These are my absolute favorite brushes for cream blush and cream bronzer. They're the perfect size for my face, the perfect density. They blend the product so well. They're my favorite. I have high-end brushes. I prefer this one for those types of products. This is also really good for foundation as well. So it's a great brush. Highly recommend. All right, and that is it. I think I covered everything, I'm pretty sure. Let me know some of your picks in the comments. What would be some of your first products that you would run to the drugstore to pick up for a full face of makeup if you just like, maybe if you went on vacation and your luggage was lost and you only had a drugstore that you could go to, what would you pick up? I really want to know. Leave me a comment down below. If you did enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up. That helps me out a lot when you do that. And if you're not already subscribed to my channel, I would love for you to subscribe before you leave. I do upload videos weekly, both beauty and fashion videos, and I would love to see you back on my channel again. I want to thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.